In the wake of the comprehensive spending review, I'm delighted to be joined by Rob Whiteman, Managing Director of Local Government Improvement and Development. Rob, what's your reaction to the announcement?
My reaction to the comprehensive spending review yesterday is that this is a very challenging settlement for local authorities. The average reduction of grant by 26% over 4 years is going to be very hard to achieve, and councils are going to have to work very hard to do it and protect frontline services. And of course, councils don't yet know the exact detail, because until we know how grant is distributed through the formula, then actually we know 26 is the average, but councils won't know their individual effects. I think councils were a little surprised that it's front-loaded and that next year is a tough year, and that makes the job a bit harder. I think at the same time councils recognise, though, that the de-ring fencing that took place helps, and that local government has been arguing that if we are to receive less money, we've got to have flexibility over the way it can be used locally, and councils reflect that the changes made to ring fencing yesterday are welcome. And also the announcement yesterday that we move from having pilots on total place or devolution to actually really doing it in 16 places with a commitment that it happens within 3 or 4 years for the whole of local government. That these things at least answer our call for the things that we need in order to be able to face the sort of cuts that councils are going to have to achieve.
How concerned are you that these cuts will affect frontline services?
Well, councils are passionate about frontline services, and they're going to do everything they can in order to protect them. And I think what's happening, of course, through the work that we're doing, for example, with the local government group, is that by councils collaborating, by learning off each other, by looking at good practice, by thinking about greater productivity and efficiency, councils are going to work with each other and learn from the best and try and do everything they can to protect frontline services.
These cuts are now a reality. How can councils be moving forward?
Well, the most important thing is to have a relationship with the public, where councils listen to the public about what's really important and engage with the public about the changes that are now needed. Services are going to change very radically because of these savings, and that's an opportunity as well as a threat in terms of the relationship between councils and the public. So councils very much want to listen to the public. Councils know that what the previous regime of regulation is now being replaced by one of transparency, where the public have a right to know what's going on, and we must respond positively to that. Councils will then want to look at key areas where they can save on back office functions, on support services, on procurement, by collaborating with other people and trying to save money from those. But also councils know that we have to transform frontline services. So what we really want to do, of course, councils say, is to protect what actually the public receive and to help their outcomes. The manner in which we do that is likely to be transformed by the fact that budgets are going to reduce so much.
And lastly, how different will local government look in 4 years' time after all these cuts?
Well, I think part of the localism agenda is that councils will look different. You know, we won't all respond to this in the same way. I think that clearly what we see emerging are many councils looking at becoming enabling councils, commissioning councils, that through what's often referred to as divestment, ask other people, whether the private sector or the voluntary sector or new forms of social enterprise and mutual, to deliver services while the council focuses on an enabling or a commissioning role. I think other councils will look to do some of that, but actually will want to keep services in-house that they think are important, but find different ways of doing it through shared services or through learning from other people or from outsourcing. So I think localism is about councils are going to do this in different ways. What we need to make sure now is that everybody knows the menu of choice available and can learn from best practice to the different routes that authorities will follow.